Welcome to The Guys Review, where we review media, products, and experiences. Well, there goes Tucker.
Oh, is that where you want me to say something?
I guess so. I mean, you usually say something or interrupt me or something.
Well, I would have, except for the fact that one of my fucking dogs just ripped like 4 plugs out of the damn power strip.
This is stupid. I hate this fader. I can never get the sound right. My name is Steven. I'm one of your 2 co-hosts. Together with me tonight, I guess not really together. With me tonight is Tucker. Trey should be joining us, and unfortunately, Chris is sick. So, Tucker, say hello.
How's it going?
Happy Halloween, sir.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, so if anyone's watching this on the YouTubes, they'll see my black eye that I got going on. We went and did a trunk or treat earlier today, and we're supposed to be zombies. Of course, I'm wearing a bunch of Auburn gear, so I'm just claiming that I'm Auburn seasoned and that it's dead. So,
You know, that's a great story, but why don't we tell people what really happened? And that's that you talked back to Ashley too much.
I don't. Yeah, she finally struck me.
I mean, I can see it.
I don't think we should joke about spousal abuse. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know if that's.
Steven, blink twice if she really hits you. Well, there was 2. Took a second, but there they were.
I need a sign, just like a help me sign. Abby very likely could come down and because she wanted to show you all her makeup and everything too. So
okay.
But anyways, with it being Halloween and in the theme, Tucker, your choice this week, we're going to be doing Ghostbusters, which I think that's pretty apt for Halloween release.
I mean, it's a comedy horror. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a comedy horror.
That's fair enough. All right. Well, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about our weeks. You want to go first? How was your week?
Man, same as always. I'm just hung like a bull hamster.
like a toddler in winter.
Right? No, man, it's been a slow week. Not a whole lot went on. Took the boat to get winterized. Oh, this is somewhat interesting. You'll like this. You know the locking pin I have in my receiver on the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my dumbass set the locking pin on the bumper of my truck when I went to the marina. Well, yeah, you see where this is going, but here's the kicker.
I've done the same thing.
God smiled at me because when I got home, that fucker was still there. 41 miles.
Are you serious?
41 miles.
Holy shit. That is impressive.
So all the jokes about me being a horrible driver, can't make them anymore.
I can definitely make them.
No. That locking pin rode on the bumper, on the edge of the bumper for 41 miles.
Yeah, I've ridden with you. That just means you never use your brakes because you go 90 everywhere you go.
The point is, it stayed there, so I obviously can't be a bad driver.
Obviously, you can be. You just got lucky. That's not the same as being a good driver.
I'm calling it good driving. So
whatever you want, whatever makes you feel better. Anything else to add to your week?
Nah, just usual work stuff.
Yeah. My week was similar. It was kind of a boring week. I had a project that I had to do, and so Friday I ended up having to drive like an hour and a half to confirm some property stuff. And like I said, we did trunk or treat in our neighborhood tonight, and then tomorrow we're going downtown to downtown Hendersonville, which is obviously where we live. We're going to do trick or treating downtown, and then I leave Tuesday. I'll be in Nashville for a couple of days. Actually, I'll be in Nashville till Thursday. So Ashley's Ashley's mom's coming up to hang out here with her and help around the house and whatnot while I'm gone. So I got a business trip. I do want to say also real fast. Number one, I want to say congrats to Jeff in our Twitter DM group and one of Trey's buddies. He and his wife had their little baby this past week. So Jeff, congratulations, buddy. Had a little boy.
Have we seen the picture yet? Because I can't tell if it looks like Jeff or the mailman.
I did see a picture. It's at this point it's a little premature. I mean, they both got squishy faces, so not sure.
We don't know what their mailman looks like though.
That's true. Don't know what the mailman looks like. But the picture was cool because he's wearing a onesie and it's all like, I think it's Baby Yoda all over the onesie, if I remember. He posted a picture in the Twitter DM group. Like last week, I guess. But
yeah. Again, busy week, but
yeah, no, it's all good. But but so congrats to Jeff. And then I also want to say, if you watch our YouTube, we got some new graphics, and actually all of our socials got the new graphics as well. My buddy John, who is a graphic designer, who's much better than I ever was. I kind of on a whim, I was looking for some new intro graphics last week when I was doing the Rob Zombie episode, and I just was like, man, I wonder if John knows how to do this. And I sent him a text, and he whipped me up something the next day, and I think it's really cool. I like the 80s theme, the 80s aesthetic, that comes with it. So, John, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that.
Well,
And
that's because you're a Stranger Things fanatic.
well, there's that too, yeah. Well, I mean, I like the 80s synth music. I mean, that's what our intro is, that's what our outro is, and then that kind of goes in with the 80s synth kind of vibe that we got going on. So, I think it's a little more fitting than the beer logo stuff that I had before.
Well, that depends on how many people don't know we're alcoholics.
Well, I mean, I'm sure most people know that dudes in their late 30s, early 40s are pretty much all alcoholics. Actually, this weekend I bought a bottle of I never had Four Roses bourbon.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was really good. I mean, didn't get shit housed, but
I did get to try a single malt, single barrel, 16-year-old Scotch last night.
nice. Where?
Buddy of mine brought it over to the house.
That's awesome, man. I
It
assume
was
it was good.
it was good. Not a huge Scotch guy, but I mean, it was good.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Scotch is a little too peaty for me. It kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's a little too oaky. Not my favorite. I'll take the bourbon. So, speaking of the Twitter DM group, if you want to make fun of us in real time, you can do so by going to our Twitter page at @the_guys_review and then like the tweet at the top of the page, put you in the DM group. We had a random join this week, and then he dropped out by the end of the week. He never said anything. John, or whatever.
John.
Yeah, did you see that?
I did see that because I think I commented in the group, "Who the fuck is John?"
Yeah. So he never commented. So I guess we were not entertaining enough for him. But
Fuck him.
well, whatever. So moving on. Before we get into the movie, actually, I got an email from Marcus, which I also need to give credit for because he did the research for me this week as well. So, all right, this is what Marcus wrote. Well, I guess this is Swedish because the intro line is
it Herbie Derby?
Yeah, HEJSANSVEJSAN. I'm wondering if that's Stephen in Swedish. Oh,
actually, that's Herbert Durr, bro.
Yeah, and I told you this when I was at your house the other week, but Marcus is planning on coming to the States in July.
Yeah, you told me that.
So that'll be fun.
So we're gonna get him shit faced on American whiskey, and
yeah, it'll be fun.
Probably go shoot some guns, and
hopefully he doesn't shit his pants because he wants to try a bunch of American fast food too.
You said hopefully he doesn't.
Well, I mean, I guess it'd be funny if he did, but
I'm leaning towards taking him to Five Guys.
Dude, I want to take him to Guthrie's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, the one in downtown Opelika, Breezeway.
Oh yeah.
That's a guaranteed gut bomb.
I think he's gonna fly into Atlanta, so I'll drive down, pick him up in Atlanta.
Oh
just come
shit!
on down
if he's going to Atlanta, we got to take him to the varsity.
Yeah, we can do that. If you want to meet us up there or something. Like I said, my plan is I'll just drive down to because he's gonna come in. He wants to come in to experience quote unquote real freedom, so he's coming in for July 4th.
Fuck yeah, America!
So, I know we'll come down and we'll stay for a couple of days down there, and then I'm going to bring him back up this way as well for a couple of days. So anyway, so moving on to Ghostbusters, which is funny. He wrote this little note. It says, I'm starting to hate the Swedish translation of movies. Now in Swedish, Ghostbusters is actually called Ghost League. Oh, wait, no.
Okay.
I forgot to read his email. That's the whole reason we were doing that. Okay. One small question before the horror torture begins. Who else thinks the world is starting to look like George Orwell's book, 1984? It's a
I
legit question.
mean, it is a legit question. I was going to go more Fahrenheit 451, but
You think you think Russia would actually use nukes?
I hope not.
I mean, I hope not also.
It's mutually assured destruction. So,
I know, right? I need to chat. Well, I need to send another email to Yuri. He's been emailing me, trying to get him back over here. Okay. He's got 10 of these. So if we get through all these, we do. If not, whatever, we'll go. Okay. It's would you rather. Number
say
one,
you
would you
pick the best five.
well, I've never read these, so I don't know which one is the best five. So we're gonna start with number one. I'm gonna go from I'll go from the top to the bottom. So number one is would you rather lose your sex organs forever or gain 200 pounds for the rest of your life? Ugh,
Well, if
neither.
I gain 200 pounds, I'm not getting laid either way. So I guess sex organs.
Not using them anyways. Not using them either way. Yeah, I think I'd actually go with that as well. All right, number 10. Would you rather have your body found on a pile of sex toys or a pile of drugs?
Well, I've already seen one body on a pile of sex toys, so
I think the real question here, though, is what kind of sex toys? Because is it a pile of dildos or is it like a pile of like pocket pussies? Because
okay,
one,
if it's a mattress made out of blow up dolls, I'm cool with it, and I'm gonna go with sex toys.
yeah, that's the way I'm leaning. Like, yeah, but like if it's like fist sized butt plugs, no. All right. Number two, every day in Alabama question. Oh God. Oh, this is Jesus. Would you rather have sex with your cousin in secret or not have sex with your cousin, but everyone would think that you did? Jesus Christ.
That's easy. That's easy. Not fuck your cousin.
Yeah, I'm kind of with a not having sex with your cousin one.
That's really fucking easy. Who cares what everybody thinks?
Whew. All right, here you go. Number nine. Would you rather smell terrible but you can't smell it, or your partner smell terrible and you have to smell it? If I can't smell it, then me.
Absolutely. That's where I was going.
Yeah, I mean,
Fuck everybody else.
exactly. Sucks to be you. Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. All right, here you go. Would you rather get explosive diarrhea every time you meet your boss or every time you meet your significant other's parents?
Well, I already have IBS, so that's like an everyday thing for me.
Straight through a screen door. I would have to go parents only because at least I'd be at their house or at my house and like I'd have a bathroom to go to. That being
So
said,
you could go Jackson Pollock their bathroom.
exactly. But I don't see my boss at all. My boss doesn't even live in the same state as me.
So that's easy for you.
So
Pick your
yeah,
boss. You never. I mean, you see your boss what once, twice a year, three times a year.
probably a little more often than that, but probably I see my in-laws more than I see my boss.
So yeah, pick your boss. That's
Yeah.
easy.
What about you?
I guess I'm gonna go with the in-laws
Yeah.
because they
All
would
right.
tell me I see my boss every day. So
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Would you rather cut off one of your fingers or pay $5,000 of your own money for the person you hate the most to go on a spa vacation? Oof.
that's really tough. I'm really, really petty. Which finger are we talking about?
I
Is it
mean,
like
yeah,
a
I
pinky
agree.
finger?
Yeah, like if it's a pinky, I might just go with with the pinky,
But if it's like an index finger
or like your thumb.
or like a thumb, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can even go ring finger, but I want to keep this. I want to keep this one, and I want to keep
Yep.
this one for
These
reason.
three are like really important.
These three are the most important. I agree.
So if it's a pinky finger, then I'll lose a pinky to yeah,
I'm with you. I'm super petty, and frankly, I'm not paying $5,000 for myself to go on a trip. I'm not paying $5,000 for someone I
exactly.
don't like to go on a trip.
Exactly. The only way I would do that is if I can make sure that like something really, really bad happened to them on the way to the spa trip.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a spa trip for him, but it's going to be in like Tijuana. They could take
They
him by
get
the
a cologne,
cartel.
They get a colonic in Tijuana.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Number 4. Would you rather have no penis or 5 penises? That's
Where
a
are they
lot.
located?
I know that's a lot of dicks.
If you got like one in the regular spot and then one on like both knees and both elbows, I mean,
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of
that's
dicks.
an image, right?
I wonder
That's
if
an
they
image.
and do they all work? I mean, is it just the penis or like is it the balls as well?
So, like, and the second question is, if one gets an erection, do the rest get an erection?
That's fair. Can you have selective erections? Can you imagine how awkward high school would have been if you had 5 dicks?
Or awesome, depending on how you look at it.
I mean, I guess you could have a good time. Um, that's that. I mean, I've got
It
a weird
was.
enough relationship just like having one dick and having to touch it because I feel somewhat gay doing that. Never mind having 5 of them.
Oh
It's a
shit,
lot. That's a lot of dicks.
that is a lot of dicks.
But I don't know if I'd rather not have a dick. You know what I'm saying? Oh Jesus. Okay.
That sucks.
I don't
I don't know how to answer that one.
I don't either. I really don't. All right. We got like 3 more, so let's just burn through these.
All right, power through.
All right. Quick answer. Would you rather be married to Paris Hilton or Charlie Sheen? Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton.
Yeah. Would you rather crap your pants in public once a year for the rest of your life, or crap yourself in private every day for the rest of your life? Public.
Once a year in public.
Public. Yeah. Last question. Would you rather be a virgin forever or only have sex with your family? Mother, father, siblings.
And I'm
Virgin.
being a virgin
Yeah,
because
definitely.
you can always beat it.
Yep. Thank you for fucking my head up, Marcus. I really appreciate that.
I don't. Fuck you, Marcus.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus Christ, that was fucking terrible. Oh God. All right, let's get into Ghostbusters.
All right.
Like I said, called Ghost League, is directed by Ivan Reitman. It was written by Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. He wrote that Rick Moranis is an uncredited writer as well. I did not know that.
I've never heard that before.
Me neither.
That's cool, but I've never heard it.
Starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis, Ernie Hudson. Released on June 8th, 1984 on a budget of $30 million, which is $85.7 million today. It grossed $244 million, which is $696 million today. So I would say that is a success.
And it spawned an entire universe.
Yeah. This says
So, yeah.
243. It says the gross worldwide is 297 million, which is 847 million today. So
I can get behind that.
Yeah. Ratings. IMDb has it at a 7.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes at 63%. Metacritic 71. Google users.
You know, I'm gonna go pretty high because I think everybody, for the most part, likes this movie. If you don't, you're a fucking communist. So I'm gonna go 88%.
Very close. 86.
God damn it.
I'm surprised. These numbers seem low to me, to be completely honest with you.
Right? I mean, this movie is iconic.
Have you literally met anyone ever who has not liked this movie?
I mean, there's different degrees of like, but I've never heard anybody say anything, overtly bad about it.
So when Abby was little, like she was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years old, they came out with the girl version, the what was that? The Answer the Call or whatever they called it. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, man.
That was such a shitty movie.
Well, but here's the thing. I connected truthfully with this movie so much as a kid. Like I had all the toys, I had the proton pack, I had like the onesie and everything. When is Ghostbusters for Halloween? And so I was like, hey, they got the girl version. This is something that Abby can connect with, right? So we sit down and watch it, and she does not like it at all. And so finally, I was like, all right, like, hey, you want to watch something else? She's like, yeah. I was like, all right, let's watch Daddy's Ghostbusters. And I put this one on, dude. This was like her first movie obsession. Like she watched this movie. I had to dig out. I found the DVDs that I had, like the old DVDs of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. She watched those so much that they got scratched and wouldn't work. I had to buy them digitally so she could watch. I mean, she was watching this movie once and twice a week for 2 years.
Hell yeah.
So yeah. All right, here you go, Tucker. Here cometh thine shining awards, sire. My Lord Tucker the Wanker, second Earl of Wessex, Lord of the Furries, heir of Lord Baldy, the one-eyed steak wrestler, protector of freedom units, step sibling with funny feeling downstairs, entertainer of uncles, jailer of innocent, spanker of innocent milkmaids and stable boys, the toxic wanker, Big Chief sitting donut, TP giver to the great Cornholio, Edgar Allan Poe's shaved muse. I like the
Marcus has got too much fucking time on his
I
hands.
like the toxic wanker.
He's got way too much fucking time on his hands.
Okay. Oh, all right. Academy Award. It was movie was nominated for Best Effects and Best Visual Effects. It also was nominated for the Best Music and Original Song for Ray Parker Jr.'s Ghostbusters. Can you? That song is fucking Oscar nominated. I did not know that.
That song's almost 40 years old too. Think about that.
Jesus Christ. BAFTA Awards. It won the Best Original Song for Ghostbusters, a nominee for the Best Visual Effects as well. Academy of Science Fiction won the Saturn Award for Best Fantasy Film. Golden Globes nomination, Golden Screen in Germany. It was a winner for Golden Screen. Grammy Awards. Best Original Score written for the motion picture. Ray Parker Jr. was one of them. Hugo Awards was a nominee. National Film Preservation Board. It won the National Film Preservation in 2015. Online Film and Television Associated. A Film Hall of Fame song, The Ghostbusters. Online Film and Television Association 2016. Winner of a Hall of Fame. And Young Artist Award in 1985. Best Family Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. Younger artist. Okay. First time you saw the movie.
Oh man, I don't know exactly how old I was, but this movie came out the year I was born. My first memory of watching this movie is going to have to be like Saturday morning watching cartoons and movies on like TBS and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a kid. I was like 5 or 6 the first time I really remember seeing this movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
That's literally the exact same thing. Like, I don't know if I saw it in theaters, but I remember watching it like on repeat. Like, so I would put on I had the zip up onesie and the plastic,
the
proton
plastic
pack.
proton pack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Had the little sliding trap that really didn't slide that well.
No, and it had like the rubber thing you was stamping it would open.
Step on. Yeah, I had one of those.
I had that.
I had the Ghost Mobile or whatever that little car was.
The Ecto One, baby.
The Ecto One, yeah. I had the Ecto One. Man, I had tons of the toys, and there was even a cartoon series that I watched.
Yeah,
where Slimer was one of the good guys.
Yeah, Slimer was one of the good guys, and I had the firehouse and everything, and actually Abby even got into the cartoon series. I think she watched all of them because I think they're on Netflix or something. I don't know where they are.
Oh, see, that's news to me, and now I know what I'm doing when we finish up with this.
Some are good, some do not hold up. Fair warning.
That's fair. That's the thing about these old shows, old cartoons, old stuff that we grew up watching. Because I went back and tried to watch Voltron, which was like Transformers before Transformers were a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that is fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Like, it ruined a childhood memory for me. So I guess the point I'm making is, if you really love something from the 80s,
don't watch it again.
Leave it there.
Let it go. Just enjoy the memory. Yeah, it's like G.I. Joe. Like, the first G.I. Joe movie wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. But I've never
about the one with Channing Tatum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was technically in the second one for about 10 minutes too.
Yeah, but second one sucked.
The second one was terrible. But I've never got I love G.I. Joe as a kid, and I've never gone back and watched the cartoons. But it was all that 80s Funimation that was not really good animation, It
was Japanimation.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't quite anime, but it was along the same styles, but it was American stylized animation.
Yeah.
Or American stylized animation to kind of be animation.
Yeah, it was weird. Did you ever see there was another cartoon called The Real Ghostbusters? Did you see that one?
Don't remember that one.
That one was it was before this Ghostbusters, and it was like a totally different. Like they were not related in any way, shape, or form. But like they had like a, if I remember, there was like a gorilla, and they drove around like this old like a Model T type thing, and it was a cartoon.
Yeah, you're. I have no idea what you're talking about, sir.
You need to Google this one. It's an interesting looking show. But anyways, all right. Your movie, you've got a synopsis, so I'll let you roll with it.
Yep. Okay, so this synopsis has been provided courtesy of Wikipedia.
Jesus,
It's actually not a bad synopsis. I've read it a couple of times. All
getting
right,
yourself ready, huh?
absolutely research, baby. After Columbia University parapsychology professors Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz, and Egon Spangler experienced their first encounter with a ghost at the New York Public Library, the university dean dismisses the credibility of their paranormal focused research and fires them. The trio responds by establishing Ghostbusters, a paranormal investigations and elimination service operating out of a disused firehouse. They develop high tech nuclear powered equipment to capture and contain ghosts, although business is initially slow.
Wow, that really jumps in there, huh?
So, one of the things they mentioned the library scene, and I do want to talk about that. That's when you first see some of the effects this movie has.
Yeah,
They the wires moving the books back and forth across the shelves, the air guns blowing out the library
yeah.
cards
The
from
the index cards.
the card catalog. Man,
Yes.
they
No human could stack books like this.
right that those effects in the first few minutes, even back then, were just it was practical effects, really easy to do. And I actually saw a making of on the on this movie one time, and the way they did that card catalog scene was they would push the drawers out from behind, and they had
Hmm.
like a high pressure air hose
Yeah,
shooting into it to blow those cards up. So it was
yeah. Pretty
I,
ingenious.
I it really was. They didn't spend a whole lot of money on costumes for some of these ghosts because they were using practical effects for everything.
Yeah. Well, and what's like so you kind of get a good dose of comedy though because you get when they go in to catch this first ghost and Ray's like, I've got a plan, and the getter scene,
Yeah,
and she turn and the effect is incredible because she goes from just a floating apparition of a librarian reading a book into that like a quick turn into that big ghoulish rah, monster thing. Like it was really well done. Like as a kid, that could be terrifying, you know?
oh yeah. One thing, and we'll talk about this more later. One thing I think this movie does really well that you don't see movies do a whole lot of these days is there's comedy for every age.
Yeah.
You know, there's kind of the dumbed down comedy for kids that they can enjoy it and they can laugh at it. But then there's stuff in there for adults that I didn't catch when I was watching the movie as a kid, but I watch it now and I'm like,
Nice. I know, right?
that's great.
Well, so here's the thing. This movie was not originally for kids, even though it's PG. They did not write it thinking kids would watch this movie. I mean, because it's supposed to be a scary, quote unquote, scary movie.
Right.
But that's why there was that change from Ghostbusters 1 to Ghostbusters 2, where Ghostbusters 2 is way more juvenile than
Yes.
Ghostbusters 1. There's no smoking in Ghostbusters 2. They quit smoking, because Ghostbusters 1 was supposed to be for adults, but kids took such a shine to it. They cleaned it up for Ghostbusters 2.
Oh yeah. And if this is in your trivia, please stop me. But the original Ghostbusters movie that Dan Aykroyd wrote was supposed to be him and Jim Belushi, like going through outer space.
Really?
Yeah, they were supposed to be going through outer space and like battling monsters and apparitions and whatever in different dimensions and galaxies and stuff like that. And then they got Harold Ramis to come in and they rewrote it to take place in New York.
I knew that they had talked about it being where there would be multiple Ghostbusters teams in multiple different cities, but then they
Mm.
they kind of streamlined it down to one.
Yeah, well, like I said, originally it was supposed to be they were going to go through the galaxy doing stuff, but I believe when did Jim Belushi die?
Uh,
Well, I guess he's still alive.
Oh, John Belushi.
John Belushi. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I was like, 'cause I'm looking at Jim Belushi and I'm like,
He
that's
died.
not right.
He died in '82.
So he died before this movie came out. So that's when they got
Yeah, he would have
Harold
died.
Ramis to come.
He would have died during like production. Like development. I'd be willing to bet.
Right. So they got John Belushi. They rewrote it with Harold Ramis, which turned out to be really good because Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd went on to do a shitload, and Bill Murray and all these other guys went on to either write, star in, direct, produce, whatever, a ton of movies later on in their careers, or starting about this time and moving forward.
Died of a heroin overdose.
Yeah, I knew it was a drug overdose, but I couldn't
Yeah.
remember when it was.
Yeah, they actually, and the guy who sold to him, they charged him with involuntary manslaughter. No, hold on. Oh, he was charged with first degree murder, but then he plead down to involuntary
Pled.
mans pled. Sorry, thank you.
That's one of those things I'm kind of on the fence about. I mean,
Yeah,
I get it.
I was reading the word
It's
plea. I was reading the plea bargain, and I said,
it's kind of if you're doing illegal drugs, it's kind of an assumed risk
yeah,
unless it's laced with something that you didn't want. Like if you get, I don't know, if you're wanting just to do a line of coke and someone's laced it with fentanyl,
yeah,
you didn't sign up for that ride.
yeah. Here's what the L.A. County prosecutor said was John Belushi would not have died when he died, except for the heroin that was furnished and administered by the defendant.
Okay.
So, man, what a loss.
Yep. Well, it's like son of a bitch, Chris Farley.
Yeah, man, that one was rough too.
Huge loss.
I agree. All right, continue.
All right, continue. Okay. After a paranormal encounter in her apartment, cellist Dana Barrett, played by Sigourney Weaver, calls the Ghostbusters. She recounts witnessing a demonic dog-like creature in her refrigerator utter a single word, Zool. Ray and Egon research Zool and details of Dana's building while Peter inspects her apartment and unsuccessfully attempts to seduce her. The Ghostbusters are hired to remove a gluttonous ghost, Slimer, from the Sedgwick Hotel. Having failed to properly test their equipment, Egon warns the group that crossing the energy streams of their proton pack weapons could cause a catastrophic explosion. Do not cross the streams.
Foreshadow.
Yep. They capture the ghost and deposit it into an ecto containment unit under the firehouse. Supernatural activity rapidly increases across the city, and the Ghostbusters become famous. They hire a fourth member, Winston Zedmore, to cope with their growing demand.
So, did you know originally it was Winston was supposed to be played by Eddie Murphy?
I did hear. I remember reading that somewhere.
It was supposed to be played by Eddie Murphy, and he was supposed to come in way earlier. But I guess when Eddie didn't do it, and they got oh God, what's his name? Do we even
Hold
say
on, I got it right here. I got it right here somewhere.
Ernie Hudson?
Yes, thank you.
His role basically got cut in half and brought him in, late in the movie.
But you know what? He still did a really good job with,
He did.
what he was given.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the Ghostbusters without
right.
Winston.
So one thing that I love in this movie was uh, Bill Murray's character. He is always so good in everything he does.
Yeah.
His line delivery, his timing, just his dry, deadpan style of delivery is so great. When he goes over to her apartment with what is essentially a hand pump and a stick,
Yeah.
and he's not explaining what it does, and she's like, "What are you doing with that thing?" "Oh, it's scientific. You wouldn't understand."
You wouldn't understand. I remember. I love when he points it at her, and he's puffing. And he's like, "This you?" And she's like, "Yep." Okay, just make sure.
Yeah.
Um,
What's that? That's the bedroom, but nothing ever happened in there. What a crime!
What a crime!
What a crime!
I don't know. I mean, Sigourney Weaver is hot
time.
in this show and in this movie. Between this and Alien,
yes, she aged like a damn loaf of bread. But
let's see how good you look when you're 70-something years old. I mean,
joke's on you.
You already.
I won't be
70.
here when I'm 70. I won't be here when I'm 70. So
Dude,
joke's on you.
total side note, that picture that I sent you the other day, did you get that?
Which one? I'm sure I did, but which one?
The one of you and John from 13 years
Oh
ago?
shit!
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
you want to talk about baby face. Good Lord.
Uh, I look as good now as I did then.
Mm, no, no. This one you
Actually,
look like
I may look better now,
well, at
like
least
a
you don't look like
fine wine.
you don't look like a 12-year-old boy anymore, like you do in this picture. So
I'm like a fine wine or a good bourbon. I get better with age.
no, you look like an old white dude that's graying prematurely and receding hairline.
Anyway,
It's racing away from your face. Um,
so I didn't read how to do this, and I can't remember from the documentary that I watched, but the egg scene where she puts the eggs on the counter and they start popping out of
yeah. And did you
the
notice
carton.
also what she had in the bag? She had marshmallows. She had Stay Puft
Oh
Marshmallows.
yeah, I did
Ah,
say I do. Yeah, good catch.
ah.
I don't remember that, so good
Yep.
catch. And I just watched it like a couple hours ago.
There you go. Anyways, what about they didn't go over how they did that?
They did, and I don't remember how they did it.
It's got to be the same as like the cards, just compressed air out the bottom.
But how do they fry them immediately on the table? I guess they
That
had a heating element up under that.
I guess they'd have to.
I don't know.
It's cool though.
But
The
again,
the, the practical effects of that is because today they wouldn't do that. I mean, it'd all be computer animated.
it'd all be computer generated. Yeah. So they had to figure out how to do that in real life
Hmm.
instead of doing it on a green screen or doing it on a computer and then just dropping it in place.
Um, Going back to what you said about how Bill Murray delivers his lines and how dry is, you have to give credit to what's her name? Is she even? Let me see if she's even listening.
Oh, the Janice,
Janine,
Janine. There we go, Janine.
Janine Melnick.
Yep.
When she's interviewing Winston, and she's like, "Do you believe in ESP? You know, Bigfoot, aliens, life after, like all these things?" And his, well, if there's a steady paycheck involved, I'll believe in anything you want.
And she's so awesome because that one scene later in the movie where she's bitching about needing help. Ghostbusters, what do you want?
What do you want?
I always remember her, and she's been in a ton of movies, but I
Yes,
always
yes.
remember her from that one scene.
She was in. Have you seen the new Ghostbusters?
Uh, kind of the reboot,
Not the
or
one with
not
the
the
girl.
reboot, but it's the one where it's like the kids of the original Ghostbusters.
Well, it's one. It's Spangler's kids,
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
or it's Spangler's daughter and her kids, because it's one of the kids from Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. You should watch it, dude. It is. I mean, it is so much in the vein of this movie. It's really, really good.
So the first time I remember seeing Slimer at the hotel, at the Sedgwick Hotel, and
Which
I had seen I remember seeing the cartoons before I ever saw the movie because
really,
cartoons, kid, that
yeah,
sort of
that's
thing.
fair. Yeah,
It in the cartoons, Slimer's a friend.
yeah,
Slimer's like Casper almost.
yeah.
So it was weird. I remember it being weird the first time I saw this movie, seeing Slimer, and
Not.
he's a bad guy. He's a
Yeah.
bad guy.
Well, he's not a bad guy. I mean, he's a ghost pest.
I mean, he's not the main protagonist, but he's not helping him out fighting other ghosts.
That's true. He becomes more of a good guy in the second one. Remember, he drives um
Yeah, but that was again, like you said, that was after they become more of a kid friendly movie, and that
true.
I think the cartoons and stuff were already out, and they had made Slimer into being
Yeah.
um into that character of he's a
Helpful.
funny, just helpful,
Yeah.
kind of dumbass sidekick.
So we probably should have covered this earlier. Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe that there are things that can't be explained.
That's fair.
I don't know exactly what they would be because I've never seen one, but I do believe that there are things that are outside of ability to comprehend and explain.
That's fair. I think that's a great answer. Um, okay, so what do you think you would do if you came home one day and eggs started to cook on your countertop there, and you opened the door and you saw a dog and a temple in your fridge?
Well, changing my drawers would be the first thing.
Going back to Marcus. All right, I shit in public this year.
The second thing I would do would be to make sure one of my dogs hadn't accidentally gotten in the refrigerator somehow. And then when that hypothesis was confirmed to be not true, I would grab my dogs and get the fuck out of the house
Yeah, it's
and
time.
probably
It's
burn the bitch to the ground.
time to sell. The problem is, I've seen this movie, but I've also seen Poltergeist.
Right. So did I ever tell you? So you know how much I hate spiders, right?
Yes,
Okay. So when we bought
I'm aware.
when we bought the house, I was on patrol with the or no, I wasn't even working at the police department yet. I was cutting grass or doing some yard work or something back when I actually did my own yard work. And right. But I was out in the garage and Courtney was gone and I was moving stuff in the garage and I saw something kind of skitter off. And so I started digging around and I found two black widow spiders. And they were the females because they were big.
Yeah,
Um,
and they had the red belly, right?
yeah, they had the hourglass. So I called Courtney up and I said, we have two choices. Because I said, I just found two black widow spiders in the garage. I couldn't find any bug spray, so I doused them with about a half a can of air freshener. Pretty sure I killed them. So I said, we got two choices. She goes, what's that? I said, we can start paying for a bug guy, exterminator to come in and start treating the house for insects every month, or I'm going to burn this bitch to the fucking ground and collect the insurance money.
So you know that spiders, it doesn't work that way with spiders, right?
I am aware, and I want you to stop talking. So anyway, that's kind of my answer to finding the dog in the refrigerator.
Burn it down, eh?
Burn it down.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think I've ever had like a ghost encounter. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I would like to be. Part of me would be like you. Like part of me, I think I'd like to have a more definitive answer and have an experience. But at the same time, I'm afraid that I would be so fucking scared that like I would just, like you said, shit my pants. You know?
Well, I mean, there's a difference in my opinion, there's a difference in like spirits and
Ghosts.
demonic entities.
Yeah.
You know, those are two separate things. You can have if you take the traditional, I guess, folklore of ghosts, it's people that have passed away, but they haven't moved on across the veil.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business. But then you've got the demonic entities that are, like grabbing you and pushing you down and scratching you and pushing you and shit like that.
Yeah. I don't want that kind of encounter.
And I've never seen either one. I've never seen or experienced either one, so I don't know that they exist. Do I believe things do? Like I said, do I think that things exist that we can't explain? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a UFO, but that doesn't mean they're not real.
It's fair. It's an interesting, like, do you remember we had a discussion before we started this podcast about doing the other podcasts?
Yep, I do.
So the idea was, I think the name that I liked was like Southern Fried Ghost Stories and
Southern Fried Mysteries.
Southern Fried Mysteries. But the idea was,
I think that's what it was.
The idea was to look into Southeastern folklore and, kind of investigate it, where Tucker is more of the straight, detective investigator, and me, I would have been the more, I don't know, colorful, maybe believer, like the Mulder to your Scully.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been on ghost tours. I've been on, and they're fun and they're interesting. And I will say this: we did do one in Savannah where they had EVPs.
Yeah,
and EVPs are interesting. You know what that is, right? Electronic voice phenomena.
Okay, yeah. That's like the white
static.
Yeah,
the white noise.
Yeah.
So that's really, really interesting, but it's also you're very susceptible to suggestion at that point because if somebody tells you, oh, you're going to hear him say, I'm going to get you, your brain will manifest
Yeah,
that
yeah,
into that white noise. So again, I've heard some EVPs, but I also don't know that I would hear what they're telling me if they hadn't told me what to listen for. Does that
right,
make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. They've primed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that one of the things that I wanted to do was the what that the abandoned funeral home there in Opelika.
Yes.
That was something that I thought about you and I going and doing and like recording that to see if what happened. But at the same time, man, that even thinking about it, kind of, I would be a little freaked out. I'm not a
Check this out.
Bailey,
She's curled up behind me.
Bailey Bear.
So, did you ever? We're kind of getting off topic,
Yeah.
but I take that funeral home thing to kind of like what Rodney Carrington talks about when he was wanting to go lose weight, and he talks about he went for a run at night, and he goes into this funeral home or into this cemetery thinking this is going to be peaceful, and he hears a noise and shits his pants and runs all the way home.
Yeah, no. I mean, I, I guess I don't know. I guess just from being a kid or whatever, I've just got enough fear still in me that like I don't know. I'm not as scared as I used to be of stuff like that. Like, I turn off the lights down here. I'm in a basement. It gets real dark, and I'm not worried about something coming out and getting me. Like I'm an adult, but at the same time, I don't think I'd go put myself in a cemetery at 2 o'clock in the morning or like
So look, I'm going to say this: anybody that says 100% they're not scared of the dark's a fucking liar. That is primal, ingrained human fear. You
yeah,
cannot get past that because we are not like dogs or cats or a lot of wild animals that are equipped to see and navigate and hunt and do things in the dark.
yeah,
Our brains and our bodies and our are not wired for that. We're not made for that sort of thing. So there's always, I think, and you can control it and you can tamp it down,
yeah.
but
But
there's
it's still
always
there.
that's still there,
Yeah. No,
you
I agree
know.
with that. My thing is and I'm a scuba diver. I mean I hadn't been diving in years, but like the open ocean freaks me out. And not knowing the even I've been diving, 100 feet, whatever. Like where you get in the water, you can't see the bottom, but you get down to the bottom. But like when I start thinking about like continental shelf and like thousands of feet, like I'll never forget, man, flying to Germany was one of those things that really freaked me out. Like I did not sleep the whole flight to Germany because we're flying over the fucking Atlantic Ocean, and it's
Oh
just
yeah.
freaked me out.
So you've been on a cruise, right?
Yep. Didn't think
So
about it then.
I don't know if they do it. They did it then, but now they do. They have these screens all over, and even on your TV in your cabin, they have these screens and stuff on the app that'll tell you like your heading, the wind speed, wind direction, all this stuff. But it'll also tell you the depth of the ocean that you're
Oh,
at,
Jesus
and
Christ.
they do it in meters.
What?
It's weird. They do it in meters.
I guess because it's
So you
nautical.
basically you basically multiply that by 3.1
Yeah.
to get your depth.
Oh,
So we would be at times when we're cruising out in the Gulf of Mexico, we're in like 30,000 feet of water. I think the deepest I remember seeing it was like 9,500 meters.
and the funny thing is, like the Mariana Trench, I find it
It may
fascinating.
not be it may not have been that deep. It may have been like 5,000 meters. But either way, that's 15,000 feet roughly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what 2 miles, 3 miles,
15,000.
five
It's almost
thousand
three.
5,280 feet is a mile.
Yeah,
So
5,280. So yeah, I mean it's either way, it's deep as fuck.
yeah, it's
And
deep, it's dark, and it's cold.
there is no land for miles.
God, it fucking freaks me out. I just no that again, being a diver like that. I think drowning would be the worst way to die, and that like I think the only thing that can make it worse is like falling off a ship, no one knowing it, and you have to watch that ship sail away, just knowing that that's how you're gonna die.
Well, so here's a little comforting thought for you. If you fall off a cruise ship, even if they know you fall off, the chances of them finding you are pretty fucking slim.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna start talking about spiders here in a second, you fucker.
All right, let's move
Yeah,
on.
yeah, go back. Sorry.
Yeah, we're getting off track. Um, suspicious of the Ghostbusters, Environmental Protection Agency Inspector Walter Peck asks to evaluate their equipment, but Peter rebuffs him. Egon warns that the containment unit is nearing capacity and supernatural energy is surging across the city. Peter meets with Dana and informs her Zul was a demigod worshipped as a servant to Gozer the Gozerian, a shape-shifting god of destruction. Upon returning home, she is possessed by Zul. A similar entity possesses her neighbor, Louis Tully. Peter arrives and finds the possessed Dana Zul claiming to be the gatekeeper. Louis is brought to Egon by police officers and claims he is Vince Clortho, the keymaster. The Ghostbusters agree to keep the pair separated.
I love him wearing the salad bowl as a helmet, you know? He's like sniffing
Yep.
everything. So I read that the guy who plays Walter Peck, like for years afterwards, people would just like be mean to him because he played such a like terrible, like people were like, "Oh, you're an asshole" because of Walter Peck.
Well, interesting little side note though, he has played an asshole in a lot of movies
A lot of movies.
because he was also in several of the Die Hard movies as the reporter that almost got Bruce Willis's family killed.
Was he really?
First one, he was. He was the asshole reporter that like shows up at the house.
I did not remember that.
Yep.
Wow. I don't know if we're quite there yet, but don't I think it's implied, but this is kind of a silly question statement. When no, I'll get to it because they're keeping them apart for right now. So,
Right.
trying to think.
So here's some stuff I'm talking about the adult humor versus the kid humor. There was a scene in here that we didn't that it's not mentioned in the synopsis where Venkman is asleep and he basically gets a blowjob from a ghost.
That was Stance. That was Ray Stance.
Stance. Yeah, not.
You're
but,
talking about in the there's that montage they did.
Right.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I didn't understand that.
No,
I didn't. Tell me you lied to me and tell me you did.
absolutely not.
But now you look at it now and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. When his eyes cross and his head goes back.
But there's tons of little things like that in the movie where little kids aren't going to get the humor, like especially with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. When they finish him off and he blows up and white stuff goes everywhere.
Oh Jesus. Well, and so that montage, apparently that was a whole other scene where I can't remember exactly what it was. It was a cut scene.
Keep going.
Huh?
Keep talking.
It was a cut scene where they were staying like in a church or something like that was supposedly haunted. And yeah, and you see there's Ray's asleep in the bed and there's a ghost floating over top of him and it disappears and his pants get unbuckled and yeah, like but I guess they thought that was so funny. They cut the whole scene, but they decided to keep that in as part of the montage.
Yeah, it did seem kind of out of place, but still, it's funny as hell.
No, it's great. It's well done. I'm wondering. I guess
I loved how they were on like the cover of USA Today and Rolling Stone and Time Magazine and the New York Times and all this stuff.
Dude, they had
there's
Casey Kasem.
Yeah, Casey Kasem. They were low key famous in New York City for a while.
What do you mean?
I mean, they went from nobody parapsychology scientists at Columbia University to basically rock stars in like 3 months.
Oh yeah. So I was I was
Did you
wondering.
notice? Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was wondering though about like the Zool and Gozer. Like, where did they? I guess they just made this up for the movie. Like, it's not like
I guess.
because that's what I'm looking at right now. So, according to Dan Aykroyd, Gozer was based on several things. A Gozer Chevrolet dealership in upstate New York that was name related to a documented haunting in Enfield, England in 1977. The one that Poltergeist was based on. Interesting. During the haunting, the name Gozer appeared on walls and things. Did not know that. Then there's also a Zool, but it was a dinosaur that was an ankylosaur
Okay.
from somewhere in Montana.
All right. And oh, and here's something else. When you were a kid, did you realize that Dana being the gatekeeper and
The
Lewis being
Keymaster.
the keymaster
Yeah.
was
So, well, I mean, that's I was going to ask that question, but
it's kind of a sexual it's very sexual and innuendos
yeah,
that you see now.
but it's implied that they had sex on the rooftop.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, go
Because
go.
that's what opened up the portal for Gozer to come through.
Yeah.
Because he had to put his key in the gate.
And well, and remember he sits up and his shirt's all undone and it's untucked and everything, and she
Well,
gives.
There's that scene in the apartment where she's possessed by Zool, and she tells Bill Murray's character, "I want you inside me."
I don't remember that part. I remember him
Oh
saying
yeah,
like, what did he say? She was coming on to me like a drunken prom date.
yep. I like my women who sleep on top of the covers, about 4 feet on top of the over the
About
covers.
4 feet above the covers. Well done.
So
Also,
and right
also,
there in that. Go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say I also like you were saying, like they become famous, and so when they pick up Vince Clortho, they don't take him to jail. They're like, who do we take this weird guy to? Let's take him to the Ghostbusters. They know how to handle weird shit.
Weird shit. Yeah. So the dog-like creatures. I'm not really sure what they're called. Um,
Devil dogs, I think is what they call
yeah, hellhounds, whatever you want to
them.
call
Hellhounds. Yeah,
them. That was, I guess, CGI or maybe
stop motion.
stop motion stuff. Not CGI, but like you could tell that was animated and then placed over the cells.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Except for like the close up shots that it was you could tell it was a puppet.
right,
Yeah,
but the moving shots where it's like breaking through the doors and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Running down the hallway.
That's those were not the greatest special effects. But again, this movie's 40 years
Well,
old.
I was gonna say, I mean, in '85, that was I would say it was pretty good special effects, but 40 years later, not so much. It
Yeah.
stands out. But I mean, you have to admit though, even the ghosts looked pretty good. Like I think the ghosts look better in this one than they did in the not the newest one, but the one with the female, the women. Because they were all like weirdly lit with like weirdly lit with like LEDs and stuff like that. Didn't look very.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes doing more with less is better than doing less with more, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, they were limited by what they had at the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I also don't think you can make this movie now. Not in its form that it came out in 1984. You could
Mm,
do something similar, but some of the jokes, like the ghost blowjob joke, that's going away.
yeah, there's no way.
All the fucking way. That's gone.
Yeah, there
Because
can be.
somebody's going to get offended.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to get offended. Somebody's going to say, "Oh, you can't do that. That's sexual assault."
yeah, that's fair. He did not consent. I mean, he didn't say no, but he didn't consent.
I mean, the eyes crossing and falling back in the bed is pretty much a sign of consent.
I mean, look, I'm not going to turn down a blowjob from a ghost. Is all I'm saying.
Depends on the ghost.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
we're assuming it was a blowjob. It could have been. It could. I mean, she could have ghost fucked him.
I mean, Yeah, I guess
I mean, if a ghost is ethereal, she could use any part of themselves to do that.
it's true.
Interesting. That's a deep conversation to have.
Sounds like a conversation we need to have over some bourbon when we
I
come back
know.
up there.
Seriously. Agreed.
All right, so excuse me. Peck returns with law enforcement and city workers to have the Ghostbusters arrested and their containment unit deactivated, causing an explosion that releases the captured ghosts. Lewis slash Vins escapes in the confusion and makes his way to the apartment building to join Dana Zool. In jail, Ray and Egon reveal Ivo Shandor, leader of a Gozer worshipping cult, designed Dana's building to function as an antenna to attract and concentrate spiritual energy to summon Gozer and bring about the apocalypse. Faced with supernatural chaos across the city, the Ghostbusters convince the mayor to release them.
So I never understood this. I mean, in all these movies where people are trying to destroy the world and bring on the why? You're gonna die. Like, I don't get why do you want to destroy the world? Why do you want to bring on the apocalypse?
So I think the thought process behind that, and it goes back to like old Bond movies and stuff where uh like the henchmen of the main villain or whatever, the ones that are assisting will be given special privilege or spared or a place of high authority in the New World Order or whatever. So I wonder if that's kind of where they're at.
Maybe.
They'll be spared, but everybody else will be killed.
I mean, I guess it's better. What is it? To reign in hell than to serve in heaven.
I think so. But this is
The thing is, I guess I've watched too much. I've read and watched too much Lovecraft to think that if there is a demigod or a god that is the god of destruction, that we're going to be like ants to them. They're not going to care who brought them. They're just going to come in, destroy everything, and leave. They don't give a fuck about us or our reasoning for bringing them to this dimension or whatever to destroy. They're just going to come in, destroy stuff, and go. For all my cosmic understanding.
there's this part of the movie, especially in the mayor's office, leads to one of the greatest quotes in movie history. When everyone's talking about basically this is going to be the worst part of Revelations when Armageddon comes around, and Bill Murray goes, "Human sacrifice, cats and dogs living
Living
together,
together.
mass hysteria." Again, his comedic timing and his expressions and his delivery, you just that's talent. That is pure charismatic talent.
But that moment when they're trying to explain, and he he finally convinces the mayor by going, what was it? Think of the millions of voters that you'd save. And he looks at him and
Yep.
he looks at Walter Peck and he get him out of here. And I love Bill Murray's like, bye. Like it's so
Well,
he
and then
just is like,
Egon
fuck you.
before that they talk about well, uh, Dickless here turned off the containment unit, and he's like, the mayor's asking him questions about the containment unit. And it's like, yes, sir, it's true. That man has no
That
dick.
that man has no dick. Some of the best insults of all time.
It's a God, man. Bill Murray back in the '80s was just you couldn't beat the guy.
Awesome. Oh man. But yeah, I'm trying to think the whole like I guess this was kind of foreshadowed earlier in the movie when he's talking about all the ghost activity and what's his face Egon talking about the Twinkie
Oh yeah.
and how much ghost activity and all that other stuff. Of course, I'm wondering like if you built and designed this containment system or designed and built it, why couldn't you? Why would you not make it modular to where you can expand it? Because if you're catching that many ghosts, you're going to need expansion.
Yeah. I've never really given it that much thought, to be honest with
That's what we got to do here, man. That's what we're doing
you.
for all 7 listeners.
Right. Well, 5 if you don't count us.
Well, that's besides the fact. Thanks, Marcus.
um, I don't know. I can't. How much space can a fucking ghost take up, though?
That's what I'm saying. Especially if, I mean, they take a Slimer ghost that's this big and they put him in a trap that's that big. I mean, how much? It's got to be some like quantum mechanics shit. Can't be that big.
Well, I'll tell you what. Between now and next week, I'll go back and watch some old episodes of Quantum Leap and see if I can get an answer for you.
That's what I wanted to hear. I've wanted results. I've finally gotten them. All right. Finish it up.
All right, bringing it home. Hang on, let me get back to my. The Ghostbusters travel to the apartment building roof as Dana Zool and Louis Vins open the gate, which is code for fucking, between dimensions.
That poor, hey, good, congrats to him. A, I don't know if you call that, if it would be consensual. I guess it would be. B, I mean, he's obviously crushing on her this whole movie, and he finally gets the bang.
Absolutely.
So good,
and
good for him.
And he bangs her before Bill Murray does.
That's true, and I hope for his sake he remembers it.
Yep. And so now him and Bill Murray are Eskimo brothers.
Now they're Eskimo brothers.
Let's see. And transform into demonic dogs. Gozer appears as a woman and attacks the Ghostbusters, then disappears when they attempt to retaliate. Her disembodied voice demands the Ghostbusters choose the form of the destructor. Ray inadvertently recalls a beloved corporate mascot from his childhood, and Gozer appears as a gigantic, stay-puffed marshmallow man that begins destroying the city. Against his earlier advice, Egon instructs the team to cross their proton energy streams at the dimensional gate. The resulting explosion destroys Gozer's avatar, banishing it back to its dimension, and closes the gateway. The Ghostbusters rescue Dana and Louis from the wreckage and are welcomed on the street as heroes. End movie.
So did you know that Ron Jeremy is in the background on the street?
I did not.
Yeah. You can see it. There's a couple of shots you can see Ron Jeremy back there. His little mustache and everything.
Nice.
I also read the guy who plays Walter Peck. So that what they dumped on him obviously is not marshmallow. It was shaving cream.
Shaving cream.
Yeah, but it was
shaving
like
foam.
Yeah, shaving foam. But it was like several hundred pounds of that stuff, and it hurt. I think I read that it hurt it. He hurt his back.
It was 100. It was supposed to be 150 pounds, but then they had to cut it in half.
Really.
And I actually have a problem with this part of the movie that I'll get to in a second.
Sure.
But,
No,
but I want to point out there was again, this is going back to that adult humor versus kids humor. When they're on top of the roof and Bankman goes, "Grab your stick, holding it, heat them up, smoking, make them hard, ready." As a kid, you don't get that.
I never really caught that until you're now pointing it out. I'd never really thought about it in that way.
So it's again Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, when they wrote this script,
Incredible.
fucking nailed it.
Genius.
So now on to the part that I have a problem with. What is a marshmallow made of? It's basically confectioner's sugar, right?
That's sugar.
Yeah. What happens when you set sugar on fire, or when you set a marshmallow on fire?
It becomes black and it expands, but it doesn't. Well, it kind of melts.
Okay, but let's go a step further. What does it essentially turn into if it hits your skin? Fucking napalm.
Yeah, it's lava.
Right. So you dump liquid burning marshmallow on Walter Peck, and you have just roasted his ass.
He's just gonna like shrivel. I don't know. Oh man, he just start throwing graham crackers and chocolate at him and make him a big fucking s'more.
I mean, you would have killed hundreds, if not thousands, of citizens, New York citizens, when that monster exploded, and nobody died.
So I read a couple of things. Let's see. One, so the proton packs that they wear, apparently they would be weighted just so they felt, more realistic.
Right.
And they would sometimes put more weight in Bill Murray's proton pack because it annoyed him, and they found that he was funnier when he was annoyed.
All right.
I also find it funny though that if you notice after the explosion they get up, all of them are just covered with marshmallow, except
for Bill Murray.
Except for Bakeman. He's got like one thing on his shoulder, maybe?
It's on his head and his shoulders, but it's not covering his whole body.
How the hell did he escape
I noticed that today for the first time, actually.
I never understood how he got out. You know, I don't know. I don't know. If Bill Murray was like, "Fuck that, I'm not going to do all that," or I don't know. Who
Probably
knows?
hiding behind. Well, in universe, he was probably hiding behind somebody.
Probably. That sounds. That I agree with that. That's a good. That's a good sound of that one. Um, I don't want to give anything away, but you need to see the new Ghostbusters because it calls back to a lot of this movie.
And again, this is when they cross the streams and they're holding them down about their hips and they're all turning them in towards each other.
Never realized how homoerotic Ghostbusters was.
Right? I mean, you can sexualize a lot of this movie, and again, I want to feel like they did this deliberately because you can't put that many references in there and not know what you're doing. You know?
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I'm sure this movie is an allegory for something else that I'm not seeing, but you know, it's it's so well done. And the girl who plays Gozer was I think like a Russian gymnast or something like that. Maybe not Russian. I think she was maybe a German gymnast or something like that. And I can't remember who did her voice, but she had to get a voiceover. You there?
I did not. Yeah, I'm here. I had to walk into the kitchen. Yeah, I never knew that. I never knew she was a Russian or a gymnast. Well, I think that's all I've got. You have anything you want to add to this before we do top five trivia ratings and reviews?
Uh, Not that I could think of. I mean, just it's a great man. This is such a great '80s movie because it's got the good feel good ending. The good guys win, the bad guy loses. I mean, does it get really any better than that?
I mean, they all could have gotten laid, but it's no
That's
Caddyshack.
Yeah, that's true. All right, top five. Why is it? Oh, because I have to have the sound on for it to play. That usually,
Typically helps.
generally that helps. All righty. All right, top five. Number one. Before the Ghostbusters became established in New York City, they released a commercial to advertise their services. The three original members, Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz, and Egon Spengler, appear on television with the number 555-2368. 2368. During the film's theatrical release in 1984, Ivan Reitman ran that very same commercial, which allowed people to call in. The callers would hear a pre-recorded message from Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, who announced that they were unable to answer as they were busy busting ghosts. The number received 1,000 calls every hour, 24 hours a day for several weeks. Sadly, the line is no longer operational, so if you're being troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night, you're experiencing feelings of dread in your basement or attic, we don't know who to tell you to call. Number two, Ghostbusters is such an iconic title, so much so that many fans still haven't noticed that following the opening scene in the New York Public Library in the original 1984 film, the title that appears on the screen is actually two words and not one, reading Ghostbusters. Before the filmmakers settled on the now iconic title, Dan Aykroyd originally considered the title Ghost Smashers, while Ghost Breakers was also an option. The sign outside the Ghostbusters fire station in New York even had variations of these titles during production. Ghostbusters was not available because of Filmation's Ghostbusters 1975. Oh, here you go. An unrelated TV series. There's also a 1986 cartoon. In the end, Columbia Pictures obtained the rights, while the real Ghostbusters 86 to 91 was so named to distinguish itself from the Filmation version. So there you go. Here's a little bit about Slimer. Despite becoming one of the most iconic characters in the entire Ghostbusters franchise, Slimer is never actually name dropped in either of the two movies, Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2. However, he was referred to as Onion Head by the crew of the original film, and the ugly little spud wasn't actually named Slimer until the animated show, The Real Ghostbusters, in which he's part of the team. And it's this that inspired his more friendly cameo in Ghostbusters 2. There you go. In which he offers Louis Tully a ride in the town car. Slimer isn't the only ghost in the original movie who isn't referred to by the name we know him as Gozer's two minions, Vince Clortho, the Keymaster, and Zool, the Gatekeeper, are never referred to as terror dogs, despite the Hellhounds now being synonymous with the name. Number 4, as well as being called Onion Head by the crew members of the original 84 film, Slimer also went by another name, the Ghost of John Belushi, something Dan Aykroyd started. Aykroyd has since confirmed that Slimer was heavily inspired by the late John Belushi. For starters, the Green Spook's hankering for food was based on Belushi's cafeteria scene in National Lampoon's Animal House.
Nice.
I know, right? The role of Peter Venkman was originally written for the actor. However, he passed away while Aykroyd was working on the script in '84. While there are no direct references to the actor in the film, there are plenty throughout IDW Ghostbusters comic book series, some of which even feature Belushi's character Joliet, Jake Blues from the Blues Brothers, which also stars Dan Aykroyd as Elwood Blues. And number 5, the Ghostbusters cross the streams. The rift between the two dimensions causes the Marshmallow Man to explode, raining down marshmallow on the unsuspecting New Yorkers below. But getting that amount of actual marshmallows to dump on the film extras was impossible and plausible. Instead, Elman's team collected 500-gallon batches of shaving cream to substitute for the remains of Mr. Stay Puft. William Atherton, there you go, who plays Walter Peck, was skeptical about having such a large amount of heavy cream dropped on him. So they tested the idea on a stuntman using only 75 pounds, and it knocked him to the ground. The stuntman was okay, and a smaller batch was collected for the dump on Atherton for the final take of the film. So there you go. There's your top 5. If I can find the right thing to do the music, that would be nice. All right, and here we go.
The Triple Lindy. Triple Lindy.
Is that hard?
That's impossible.
All right. You got a triple Lindy for us?
Oh, I absolutely do. You blow up a giant marshmallow like that, and you've killed everyone below it. That you have crispy fried 1,000 New Yorkers. Plain and simple. Next time you go build a bonfire and you get a s'more, you start making a s'more, I want you to take that fucker and fling it on your friend and see what they do. Because I guarantee you they're going to whoop your ass because they now have a 3rd-degree burn where that fucker hit them.
Nice. All right. I'm going to go with the containment unit, actually. I mean, Egon is a smart man. We know that. He designed and built a fucking ghost containment unit, which I don't even know where you start. But to make it not modular, where you couldn't expand it when you know your business is doing well, that's a dumb move. And I just don't think that's a thing that would actually happen. I think he's too smart for that. He knows how to expand that. You know what I'm saying?
Who's to say they didn't go build another unit?
I mean, maybe they did. But they were complaining about how full that one was getting, so they never said they did. All right, I'll let you go first. What's your rating and review, buddy?
Okay, so, man, this movie is great. This movie was great when I was a kid. It still holds up. I mean, yeah, some of the special effects are dated, but you can't get past this all-star cast, the line delivery, the script, everything's so tight. It works well together. The actors all have great chemistry. And the movie is legitimately laugh out loud funny at times. It's suspenseful enough that you actually invest something in the movie, but it's also kid friendly enough that you could watch it with, well, like Abby, and she's not going to get scared about it. You know, I think this is one of the better movies that we've reviewed in in doing this podcast, and it's not perfect, but it's a half a beer movie.
Yeah. I honestly completely agree with everything you said. I mean, I think the only knock I have against this movie, besides our triple Lindy's, is some of the animation is not the best because it's 40 years old though, you know. But
I mean, it's 38 years this year.
Yeah, it's so easy to look past that, and I mean the story holds up. It's always entertaining. Like you said, it's multi-generational. Like I could sit there and watch it with Abby. I can watch it with you. I can watch it with my mom. I can watch it with anyone. I mean, there's nothing. This is one of the best movies. I agree that we've ever done, And I'm with you, man. I'm going to give it half a beer because I just don't think it's not a perfect movie, but
No, it's not perfect.
It's damn close to it. So,
Yeah, I think this movie is. This is easily it's up there with T2.
So and so we'll get to this. Well, that gives this movie with our 2 half beers. It's a half a beer movie.
And I think that's fair. I'm really curious as to what Trey or Chris would have rated this movie.
We need to definitely ask them.
But I don't see how you can give this movie more than maybe a beer and a half tops.
So
that's me personally, but
yeah,
Trey will find somebody to fuck it up.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Ghosts aren't real, fucking Harry Potter asshole. So
there's ghosts in Harry Potter, so he can't say that.
That's fair. So I'm gonna take this a step further. I'm gonna knock this into my number 3 on my top 5.
What are my top 5?
Hold on one second. So my top 5 right now, or will be, so originally it's Breakfast Club, T2, Sandlot, Color Out of Space, and Mail Order Brides. I'm knocking off Mail Order Brides. I'm going to put Color Out of Space at 5, Sandlot at 4, and Ghostbusters at 3.
All right, there you go.
Your top 5. Number 1, you have T2. Number 2, Tombstone. Number 3, My Cousin Vinny. Number 4, John Wick. And you got Scream at number 5.
I'm going to knock out John Wick, leave Scream where it's at, and put Ghostbusters in at number 4.
Got it. Ghostbusters at number 4. All right. So, oh man, my head. Next week is my choice, I guess, isn't it?
It is. And it's also the start of Thanksgiving month.
It is. Actually, I think I know what I'm going to do because that Friday is Veterans Day.
Okay.
So I'm trying to see. I don't think Nick's going to be too far away. I don't know if Mitchell's back from his deployment. I was trying to see if we get one of our.
He is not.
He's not. Okay. Well, I was trying to see if we could get one of our veterans to come on, and I'm actually kind of leaning towards. Well, I'm leaning towards a war movie, and I'm wondering if I'm going to let one of them pick it because, well, I'll just tell you, and even though whatever. Nick suggested Saving Private Ryan.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Which I am too. It's a great movie. I was kind of thinking about The Patriot possibly, but have you listened to this week's Time Suck, by the way?
I have not. I'm a week behind right now.
So it's about these guys that are they're the country's first serial killers, and they killed during the Revolutionary War. And so
yeah, the Bloody Harpies. I've seen it. I just hadn't gotten a chance to listen to it.
So my thought was actually to do Mel Gibson's The Patriot.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'll make a decision, but it'll probably be one of those two. I'll be honest with you. I'm really nervous about doing Saving Private Ryan because that is such a good movie, and I just don't know if we can do it justice. You know what I'm saying? Like that is.
And Trey is such an asshole.
And mostly because Trey is such an asshole.
Well, there's always son of a bitch, the Chris Kyle movie, Sniper.
Oh, American Sniper.
American Sniper. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I hadn't seen that yet.
What?
I know. All right,
dude.
I know. Well, and you got Black Hawk.
Wrong with you?
You got Black Hawk Down. I mean, you know, God, that Lone Survivor, man. That one still sticks with me.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That was a good one. All right, well, we'll figure that out, and we'll let everyone know. If you want to find us on the web, you can do so at theguysreview.simplecast.com. Email me in anything, and I will read it poorly at theguysreviewpod@gmail.com. Instagram at theguysreviewpod, Twitter at _guysreview. And remember to like the tweet at the top of the page. We'll throw you in the DM group. You can make fun of us in real time. Facebook.com/theguysreviewpod. Please subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcast from, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that gets more people to find us. You got anything else you want to add, bud?
I think that's it, man. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. Y'all have fun. Are you just going to hang out at the house, and are y'all expecting trick-or-treaters?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, have fun.
Court's got to work, so it'll
that sucks.
Be low key.
Yep. All right, man. Well, y'all have fun, and we'll talk soon. And thank you guys.
Right,
thank you everyone for listening. It's been another episode of, on behalf of Tucker, it's been another episode of The Guys Review. See you next time.